the author, whose biography of Steve Jobs was an instant bestseller after the Apple CEO's death in October 2011, sets out here to correct what he perceives as an undue fixation by many commentators on the rough edges of Jobs' personality. That personality was integral to his way of doing business. Isaacson writes, but the real lessons from Steve Jobs come from what he actually accomplished. He built the world's most valuable company, and along the way he helped to transform a number of industries: personal computing, animated movies, music, phones, tablets, computing, retail stores, and digital publishing. In this essay, Isaacson describes the 14 imperatives behind Jobs: approach, focus, simplify, take responsibility end to end, when behind, leapfrog, put products before profits, don't be a slave to focus groups, bend reality, impute, push for perfection. Know both the big picture and the details. Tolerate only a players, engage face-to-face, combine the humanities with the sciences, and stay hungry, stay foolish. His saga is the entrepreneurial creation. Myth writ large. Steve Jobs co-founded Apple in his parents' garage in 1976, was ousted in 1985, returned to rescue it from near bankruptcy in 1997. And by the time he died, in October 2011, had built it into the world's most valuable company. Along the way he helped to transform 7 industries: personal computing, animated movies, music, phones, tablet computing, retail stores, and digital publishing. He thus belongs in the pantheon of America's great innovators, along with Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and Walt Disney. None of these men was a saint, but long after their personalities are forgotten, history will remember how they applied imagination to technology and business. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Apple's Think Different commercial, 1997. In the months since my biography of Jobs came out, countless commentators have tried to draw management lessons from it. Some of those readers have been insightful, but I think that many of them, especially those with no experience in entrepreneurship, fixate too much on the rough edges of his personality. The essence of Jobs, I think, is that his personality was integral to his way of doing business. He acted as if the normal rules didn't apply to him, and the passion, intensity, and extreme emotionalism he brought to everyday life were things he also poured into the products he made. His petulance and impatience were part and parcel of his perfectionism. One of the last times I saw him, after I had finished writing most of the book, I asked him again about his tendency to be rough on people. "Look at the results," he replied. "These are all smart people I work with, and any of them could get a top job at another place if they were truly feeling brutalized, but they don't." Then he paused for a few moments and said, almost wistfully, "And we got some amazing things done." Indeed, he and Apple had had a string of hits over the past dozen years that was greater than that of any other innovative company in modern times: iMac, iPod Nano, iTunes Store, Apple Stores, MacBook, iPhone, iPad, App Store, OS X line, not to mention every Pixar film, And as he battled his final illness, Jobs was surrounded by an intensely loyal cadre of colleagues who had been inspired by him for years, and a very loving wife, sister, and 4 children. So I think the real lessons from Steve Jobs have to be drawn from looking at what he actually accomplished. I once asked him what he thought was his most important creation, thinking he would answer the iPad or the Macintosh. Instead, he said it was Apple the company. Making an enduring company, he said, was both far harder and more important than making a great product. How did he do it? Business schools will be studying that question a century from now. Here are what I consider the keys to his success. When Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, it was producing a random array of computers and peripherals, including a dozen different versions of the Macintosh. After a few weeks of product review sessions, he'd finally had enough. "Stop," he shouted. "This is crazy." He grabbed a magic marker, padded in his bare feet to a whiteboard, and drew a 2x2 grid. "Here's what we need," he declared. Atop the 2 columns, he wrote Consumer and Pro. He labeled the 2 rows Desktop and Portable. Their job, he told his team members, was to focus on 4 great products, 1 for each quadrant. All other products should be cancelled. There was a stunned silence, but by getting Apple to focus on making just 4 computers, he saved the company. Deciding what not to do is as important as deciding what to do, he told me. That's true for companies, and it's true for products. After he righted the company, Jobs began taking his top 100 people on a retreat each year. On the last day, he would stand in front of a whiteboard. He loved whiteboards because they gave him complete control of a situation, and they engendered focus, and ask, "What are the 10 things we should be doing next?" People would fight to get their suggestions on the list. Jobs would write them down and then cross off the ones he decreed dumb. After much jockeying, the group would come up with a list of 10. Then, Jobs would slash the bottom 7 and announce, "We can only do 3. Focus was ingrained in Jobs's personality and had been honed by colleagues, and family members would at times be exasperated as they tried to get him to deal with issues, a legal problem, a medical diagnosis they considered important, but he would give a cold stare and refuse to shift his laser-like focus until he was ready. Near the end of his life, Jobs was visited at home by Larry Page, who was about to resume control of Google, the company he had co-founded. Even though their companies were feuding, Jobs was willing to give some advice. "The main thing I stressed was focus," he recalled. "Figure out what Google wants to be when it grows up," he told Page. "It's now all over the map. What are the 5 products you want to focus on? Get rid of the rest, because they're dragging you down. They're turning you into Microsoft. They're causing you to turn out products that are adequate but not great." Page followed the advice. In January 2012, he told employees to focus on just a few priorities, such as Android and Google+, and to make them beautiful, the way Jobs would have done. Now you can see the next part of this series. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe of this channel.